Hello, my name is Jake Taylor. I'm currently employed at Aston & Worcester as head chef. Been head chef for about a year and a half. Been working here through chef to party sous chef for about 3 years. But I started in hospitality since I was 15 years old for 7 years.
Thanks. I'm currently a sous chef at Aston for a little over 3 years, but I've been working in the industry for about 6 years now.
I really love about this whole job in general is when customers come in, they expect a good quality. I give it out, and I love cooking so much. If they come in and they leave happy, amazing service, amazing food, makes me really enjoy what I do, and makes it so like I feel like I'm doing the best I can, and it brings me some warmth inside if they really enjoy the food I cook them.
The process of making food and preparing and a little bit of service as well, like making sure that you have everything. It's a little bit of I don't know. I just like making a plan and it all falling into place, if that makes sense.
Everybody's coped up. Even though it's a small country pub, it did get busy and you would get slammed, but they couldn't handle it. So obviously they were smoking, some would drink during service because it was a closed kitchen, you can get away with it. And then obviously it wasn't a good thing seeing, obviously such a small age, seeing them doing lines in the kitchen. And then obviously, because it was, again, independent, the owners would be upstairs and they were all cokeheads as well. And they used to work in the kitchen every Sunday, from scratch, Sunday roast, really beautiful food. But they couldn't handle service that bad that they needed to be coked up to keep up.
With mental health in this kind of industry, it's a little bit of a rough one. Because obviously it's a very fast-paced work environment and everything's got to go out really quickly, but sometimes, depending on who the person is, you could either have someone who is kind of maybe pushing a certain person a little bit too hard, or you've just got someone who on that specific day can't really handle it for whatever reason, whether they're just having a rough day or if it's a little busier than they anticipated. And it can take a toll on everyone's mental health differently.
Anymore, it's really bad. It's really bad. I've seen so many good chefs come here and after 2 months are like, I'm not getting paid enough, I can't live on this, I have to go. So yeah, you're getting all the hours in, but you have no personal life anymore, and it's really sad. It's really sad. I don't even have time to watch new movies, goes on days out and all that anymore because of this. So yeah.
I know personally I've cried multiple times on shift just for multiple reasons, but I've also seen other people just kind of get angry and they need to kind of take a step aside a little bit just for 10-15 minutes. Fag breaks as well, that's a common thing. That kind of lets them have their air and de-stresses them a little bit.
Because you have to put so much hours with it, and then you have to deal with just real twats as customers, real twats, and the pay isn't the best. For even though we sell food at quite a high price with everything going up, people are still on minimum wage, especially my wage now. I'm paid £13.50. I get some tips, but it's not enough to handle everything in the restaurant, kitchen side. So I'm getting moaned at by my managers above me. I've got rotas and I've got people breathing down my neck about food quality, stock, hours, because the biggest factor in hospitality is labour.
As I mentioned briefly, I do or have struggled with work and my mental health a little bit in the past. Still do, but more so, not so much recent times, but more so in the past. It's mainly anxiety for me anyway. It's the anxiety of kind of not meeting the mark. I know sometimes I'm a little bit too hard on myself. I will really, really beat myself up if I don't make something that doesn't quite meet my standards, but it's still fine, but it's not 100% to what I would want to do. But because of the day, maybe it's a little busy, I can't really take the time out of my day to redo it, or as we say, because there's not a big enough reason to delay service. It's just me almost being a perfectionist, I guess.
When it sounds really cliche, a lot of places, a lot of special hospitality say we're a family. They mean it as in we go through thick and thin, but we're here for each other. But it's so dysfunctional. It's like the royal family, a dysfunctional family, and it's just shit. But we're here for it, and also it's when you get that breath of fresh air when you have a customer, and because I work in an open kitchen, and they come up to the pass and they say thank you for the food and all that, and it's that breath of fresh air of you know you're doing a good job, so you want to keep doing it. But at the end of the day, we're all people. We all have one of those days where we say we can't do this anymore, and the customers need to know that. A lot of the customers will come into a 9-to-5 office job, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, we're going to go out, and they expect the world to come to them, but unfortunately, you just can't. It's the worst thing in the world that the customer isn't satisfied with their visit, but some will demand your arm and a leg for it. But at the end of the day, this is our jobs as well. We're trying our best, but it doesn't always work out. People who sit on a computer all day in an office, or they do another job, like basically robots, and they demand everything very quickly and all that, but they don't get how it works, and it's really bad. No one knows, so there needs to be support for that as well. I'm hoping, obviously, if more people come out and speak about this thing, with all these charities and communities now on the rise, and they get some media coverage out there, people might actually appreciate us more, because without us, there's no restaurant. Realistically, without chefs, no one can cook the food, no floor staff, no one can get the food to you, make your drink for bartenders, nothing like that. So they have to grow a pair of balls and cook their own food at home. They won't like it, but tough shit. This is what we get paid for, to make your experience good, but it's not always going to be that case. And it's just shit.
It'd be nice to see more of a not standardized approach, but more of like a general training for everyone, so that they kind of know how to deal with, and they know that in multiple situations they know how to approach it depending on the type of person they are, because you'd hope that a manager would know their staff. And so if they know their staff, you'd think, well, okay, they're like this, maybe I'll approach them differently, maybe I'll take them out to the side, or just approach them while they're working. Maybe they don't really want to be fully taken away from what they're doing, because it won't help them in a certain way. I think there could be maybe just like a little bit of a training module, more training modules available for managers. I don't know how much is available for the managers at Ask Italian so far, but I think there could always be more.
Obviously, you having loads of those people around you, you're not pressured. It's like kind of the culture. You lean into it to be able to fit in with them guys, and two, so you can actually have a sit down. That's the only reason why they do it, is so they go out for a fag. You're allowed to go for a fag, but you can't have a break. It's really weird how it works. And with my own experiences, obviously, during shift, I have to go for a fag. Before I open, before the busy time, before I start closing, when I finish, because I've got so much on my plate. I'm a 22-year-old guy and I'm a head chef. It's a really young age, and we make about 18, 24k a week. On some days, I can do 7k in one day. I've got a Victoria market coming up. That's an 11k day. I'm scheduled no break, and it's really tough on me. With it all, so obviously I smoke a lot during service. I used to be on straights, easily go through a pack a day if I'm working on Saturday, because that's the only time I can actually sit down. And then obviously after work I need a drink to relax and whatnot, to calm down, because I'm working this job 6-7 days a week, usually 10 till close, which is easily a 12, 13, 14 hour shift sometimes, and I have no time for myself. So the only time I can actually zen and be down is when I'm next door having a pint, or go to the pub down the road having a pint, just to zone out, relax, chat shit about work, go home, wake up, do it all again. It's a rinse and repeat, and it's not healthy for anybody.
The way I kind of deal with it is just take a step back, not for too long, but take a deep breath, have a look at what I've got on, how many tables we're serving, and just kind of make a mental note in my head of the order I'm going. And that kind of helps ground me a little bit and stop me from spiraling a little bit too much and it overly affecting the service. If sometimes it will get a little bit too much for me, and I will have to kind of step out and just take a breather, or go out and have some like fresh air or whatnot.
As a whole, for the culture, is no one really talks about it. No one does, because everyone's just in it and they just do it, and it's a really hard job. And you'll find someone, you'll think they're absolutely fine, but next minute they boom, mental breakdown, and they're there crying on the floor, and you can't do anything because you're in the same boat. All you can say is grit your teeth. We need to get this out because you're letting the team down, and that's all it is. You can't have. It's becoming more of a thing now that people are getting time off for anxiety, stress-related illnesses, and all that. And what happens is then, obviously, they won't help you with that. So you're 2-3 people down for the entire week. No one else from any of the sites. Your managers aren't going to come in and help you. You just have to get on with it, and then it will create burnout then, and it's hard for people. It's just disappointing, kind of, as we're all in this together, but we can't help each other about it because we don't have the tools necessary for it.
One of the biggest issues that I've noticed in my time working in the industry is that there's no real easy way for you to get any help with that. While companies I've worked for do offer it, and they're not exactly super difficult to get into and get results out of it, there are a lot of people currently accessing them, a bit like therapy outside of a company, that it does take a little bit of time to actually get the ball. I think as well, the thing that would help a lot of mental health in this industry is just the way customers treat chefs and front of house in general. Is they kind of, how it feels now, they kind of just expect us to do everything and bend to them in every way, shape or form, even if it puts us at a disadvantage. And I get it, we are serving them, they are coming for an experience, but they've also got to remember that we are them. We're just like them. At the end of the day, we're not some machine that throws out food. If you want that, you can go elsewhere. I think a little bit of leeway here and there would be nicer.
There's not any support in the chain that are working at the moment. They try and value themselves on, we're always here for you if you need help. But every time I've tried to put my hand out that I need help, it's been slapped away, but you just have to get on with it. When someone comes into the industry, best advice I can give, don't. It's the most difficult job I think I've ever worked, in terms of physically and mentally and emotionally as well. You're on your feet 10, 12 hours a day, running around. You've got the stress of it all. It's not a good first job, really isn't, and it's not for the light-hearted.